I literally have 2 seconds for this intro.
The Odyssey. It's old, it's written by Homer, and today I'm gonna get through book 17. Why? Because my teacher told me to. Because I love the Odyssey, and I love book 17, and I'm gonna make it really fun and entertaining for you for your leaving cert. So grab your copy of the Odyssey, grab your aesthetic highlighter, and your attention as we start on chapter 17, Odysseus Goes to the Town. Hey, I was in town yesterday.
We're now at the palace after a brief exchange with Odysseus and Telemachus. This is Telemachus' first return to the palace, so when Eurycleia sees him, she bursts into tears.
For the unaware in the room, Eurycleia is Telemachus' nurse. She's basically like his pseudo-mother. And then Penelope, the actual mother, comes in to also give affection to her son.
Why are you giving me affection, Mother? I'm practicing for my reunion with your father, Telemachus. Telemachus. Anyway, what news do you bring of your father? My what?
Telemachus then calms his mother down and tells her not to worry and to go upstairs with her ladies as he retrieves a guest who helped him back home.
How much do you want to bet that this guest is actually Odysseus in disguise?
Telemachus strides confidently further into the palace. Athena endowed him with supernatural grace, ensuring he caught the attention of everyone in the hall. He has 3 of his father's friends to ensure the suitors won't succeed in another assassination attempt.
Okay. Paranoid much?
After some daily rituals, including an oil bath,
I'm not acting that out.
Telemachus and his mother sit opposite each other in the evening.
Telemachus.
Did she just get my name right?
I'm going to bed now. My lonely bed. My bed drenched in my sorrows and tears. The bed I have wept in since the day your father, Odysseus, along with the sons of Atreus, went to Troy. Maybe if you could bring yourself to tell me the news of your father's return before the proud suitors, I wouldn't be so miserable. Oh, he's alive. What? Yeah. Says who? The sons of Atreus. I thought he got stabbed in a tub. No, the other one. Odysseus is alive! Don't get your hopes up.
Meanwhile, Odysseus is on a farm with a man.
Historians will call them best friends. Oh wait, it's not that kind of relationship.
Odysseus, led by the swineherd Eumaeus, enters his palace as a beggar in disguise to observe the suitors.
Okay, pause. What is happening and why?
So, what's happened so far? Basically, Telemachus has just reunited with his mother without revealing that he has found and met Odysseus. This is because Odysseus and Telemachus have made a plan of revenge against the suitors. What is the plan? We don't know yet.
Stop! Be gone! Okay, this next part is actually hilarious. So basically, Odysseus is disguised as a beggar-seus, if you will, and they're walking down a path that leads to the palace, and they come across a drunk suitor, basically. And for some reason, this guy insults Odysseus without any reason. Like, he literally says, "One villain leading another, a case of birds of a feather. Tell me, you miserable swineherd, where are you taking this dirty pig of yours?" Talking about Odysseus in front of him. This nauseating beggar and plate licker at the feast. Just the sort to stand scratching his back against the doorposts, begging for scraps but never asking for swords and cauldrons. Give him to me, to look after the folds, to muck out the pens and carry fodder to the kids. And he might thrive on whey and put some muscles on his thighs. But the fellow has got into bad ways, and work on the farm is the last thing he's looking for. He'd much rather fill his gluttonous belly by groveling and begging round the town. You mark my words, and time will prove me right. If he goes to noble Odysseus' palace, a shower of footstools shied at his head by the men there will break in pieces on his ribs. And then he just walks away, unprovoked on everything. Like, dude, relax, calm down. If I were Odysseus and this happened to me, I would beat this guy into next week. Like, excuse me? Hello? There's a little more interaction with the drunkard, but for some reason it ends with him still in one piece and breathing, so I don't care to mention it further. It's not important, and neither is he.
Anyway, Odysseus and Eumaeus
Do you have enough vowels in your name?
arrive at the palace and have a little exchange about who should go in first. But while they were talking, a nearby dog pricked up its ears and wagged its tail from the pile of dung it was laying on.
Oh my god, no.
Before Telemachus, there was a dog named Argus that Odysseus bred and raised. However, the dog has grown old since his time in Troy and was too weak to approach him. Despite everything though, he still recognized his owner. Odysseus shed a tear and exchanged words with Eumaeus. When the latter walked off, Argus.
No, I don't want to read this. If I keep reading, then the dog will die. If I don't read, if I stop here, the dog won't die. That's how it works.
The black hand of death descended on the dog the moment he caught sight of Odysseus. After 20 years.
I hate everyone in this book, bro. I'm too depressed to finish this properly.
I'm too depressed to finish this properly.
Okay, let's take a break from all this depression, okay? Let's do some annotating and analysis, okay? So let's grab our copies of the Odyssey, and I'm gonna ask everyone to go to chapter 17, and on page... I'd like everyone to go to page 231, and I'd like online, so we're below line 320, and right where it says, "As for Argus, the black hand of death descended on him the moment he caught sight of Odysseus after 20 years. I'd like everyone to highlight that sentence, and the annotation we're gonna write is anti-war propaganda. So, obviously, if Odysseus hadn't gone to fight in the Trojan War, Argos would maybe have not died such a sad death. I think I mentioned in the audio that Argos was lying on a pile of dung, so it's kind of obvious that the dog was mistreated because his owner was not around. So yeah, that's really sad to think about. I'm sad thinking about that, but I think we just need to move on, okay? There is more sad stuff coming. Well, there's not sad stuff coming. There is shocking stuff coming. But Argos will forever remain in our hearts and in our minds when we are writing about any question to do with the sentiment of anti-war in the Odyssey. In the exam, I think that is a key quote you can bring in, especially because how it's written, the hyphen in between Odysseus and after. It tells you you're supposed to pause. You need to pause and then read it, which is so sad because it makes you think that, as the narrator says, he caught sight of Odysseus. Pause, the dog's eyes are closing. After 20 years, pause, the dog's eyes are closed. Like, guys, I'm gonna crash out. It says somewhere on the previous page, even Odysseus sheds a tear. So, we're just gonna have to push through and continue on, okay? I promise you it gets better from here. Just, guys, please hang on. Anyway, that's Analysis Mason gone for now. So I'll see you maybe next time in the next analyses I find in the book that we need to annotate.
Odysseus does some begging from each suitor at Telemachus's and Athena's requests.
I'm assuming this is part of the plan, or maybe I just read it wrong, but I'm still thinking of the dog.
To separate the good from the bad.
No, just kill them all.
Although Athena herself doesn't promise to spare any of them.
Kill them all, queen. What an icon. What an absolute icon.
Most of the suitors have good reactions except one, Antinous.
If I want to see anyone flayed alive, it's him. It's Antinous. My god, do I hate this man so much. Okay, so this next part is actually really funny. So, basically, Antinous insults Eumaeus for bringing beggar Odysseus, but Eumaeus destroys him in one line. Antinous, you may be nobly born, but there is nothing noble about your speech. That's hilarious. I'm sorry, that's so iconic. Even Telemachus jumps in and says that Antinous would sooner eat the food himself than give it away. Damn, can we talk about how much this man has grown since the Telemachy? Like, is this the same kid who was begging for help for his father to come and rescue him? Penelope's just watching this in the background like, is that Apollo or my son? Telemachus actually gets the scene relatively controlled. Beggar Odysseus has a chance to walk up to Antinous directly and ask him for food, but it doesn't go well, and Antinous tells Beggar Odysseus to stay away from him. And Beggar Odysseus replies with, well, looks like you haven't the brain to match your looks. I hope Antinous will be dead before his wedding day. Me too, babe. Me too. This video is actually turning into an Antinous slander session. Antinous throws a chair at Odysseus. The next page is everyone else's reactions, and let's just say they're all part of the Antinous hate club as well. Penelope especially. Smart woman, I guess I see what Odysseus saw in her. And then Telemachus sneezes, which makes Penelope think that everything she's hoping for will happen. Okay. And then I'm pretty sure we end the scene with Odysseus in disguise planning to meet with Penelope the next morning, and she doesn't know that it's him. And that is the end of book 17. So let's get into analysis. Okay, so we have a good few characters this time, but I'd like to focus on the main family, right? So Odysseus, Penelope, and Telemachus. I think one common trait that links them as family is that they all have restraint. Like, Penelope wants to immediately ask beggar Odysseus a bunch of questions about Odysseus. And Odysseus wants to immediately beat up Antinous, which rightfully so in my opinion. And Telemachus wants to tell his mother about Odysseus, but all three of them restrain their impulses, which is interesting for Odysseus because we haven't really seen this before. The main themes in this book are disguise, family, and coming of age. So let's talk about it. Odysseus is the reason for the theme of disguise. I mean, obviously he's disguised as a beggar the whole time. It's part of Athena's plan. I'm assuming it was Athena's plan. I didn't really get the vibe that it was anyone else's, but disguising himself as a beggar to get to know the suitors better, characteristically clever move. Telemachus is the main figure for the coming of age, but I think if the coming of age theme was an arc, we would be at the end of the arc, because I think this book concludes his coming of age story. We see him act a lot like a man for the first time. He commands respect and he settles conflicts. And I just think he's grown. That's it. And finally, the theme of family is obviously having these three so close together yet so far apart. Poor Penelope has no idea that her husband is right in front of her. I think actually something I did note straight away was the concept of the Homeric Code in book 17. And basically, this is the first time I've properly seen the Homeric Code be so directly violated. I mean, Antinous throws a chair at a beggar who is a guest who is protected by Zeus. If that is not like blowing up Xenia, I don't know what is. I don't know how much more you could disrespect the Homeric Code. And I think that is why everyone's reaction is negative, because they know the severity of what he's just done. As a reader in the ancient world, you probably would be really shocked too. I mean, I know for us, maybe throwing a chair is not the worst thing Antinous could have done. He could have just like beaten up the beggar. I mean, if he's not like inside out in the next chapter, I don't know what is gonna happen to him. To recap, Odysseus, disguised as a beggar, returns to his palace in Ithaca. Telemachus reunites with his mother and tells her about his journey without revealing that he has met Odysseus. Meanwhile, the disguised Odysseus is verbally and physically abused by the suitors, especially Antinous, at the palace. most notably when the suitor Antinous throws a stool at him while his faithful dog Argos dies after recognizing his master one last time. So that is my analysis and my recap of Book 17 of the Odyssey. I hope you've enjoyed, I hope you understood what I was explaining, and I hope it's entered here and it's gonna stay for a little while. But now, moving on to Book 18, would the next person please get themselves ready? Thank you!